Hi, my name is Lisa Phillips. I am here to speak to you about flood geology, a comparison of two theories. This is an apologetics assignment for Engineering 270 Technical Writing at Liberty University. Welcome. So what is flood geology? Flood geology assumes the flood in Genesis 6 through 9 occurred and was universal, whereas traditional geology assumes the earth was created over millions of years. Flood geology supposes that the fossils deposited during one mega flood event, whereas traditional geologists feel fossils were deposited during several identified global events like ice ages. The flood geologist questioned the method of dating rocks, whereas traditional geology uses a radiometric dating system. Flood geology is accepted by the Christian community, whereas traditional geologists only accept the traditional thoughts of an old Earth. So why does it matter? Well, it matters because it is crucial for the mechanisms of how geology happen to support biblical truth. And what I mean by that is to understand the mechanisms behind the Earth's geology, academic pursuit is crucial for supporting biblical truth. Traditional scientific theorists who work hard at muting Christian beliefs, making ad hoc assumptions where gaps appear in their hypothesis. So, throughout the Bible, God reveals truth. He expects Christians to seek the truth. Yet, exposing the truth is challenging in today's scientific circles. So, for this assignment, I have chosen two papers. One on catastrophic plate tectonics, a global flood of model Earth's history by Austin S. et al. In 1994, and Dr. Walt Brown's hydroplate theory that is explained through the eyes of Selbred in an article written in 1998. So the criteria that I'm going to use today for deciding which one of these theories best supports the Bible, we first must go to the accounts in the Bible of the flood. So Genesis 7:11, foundations of the great deep broken up, windows of heaven were opened. Genesis 7:17, 40 days upon the earth, that's 40 days of rain. Genesis 7:18, the rain increased greatly upon the earth, the floodwaters. Genesis 7:19 through 20, all the high hills were covered. Genesis 7:24, the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. And Genesis 8:2, fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped. And in Genesis 8:3, the waters receded and returned from off the earth continually. I'm going to start with the catastrophic plate theory, which purports that subduction of the continental plates is what caused the great upheaval. This subduction lowered the viscosity, then allowed an increase in subduction rate, which in turn heated up the surrounding mantle even more. And then a mantle-wide flow initiated by the subduction of continental plates on a massive scale. This was a velocity anomaly of cooler temperature zones along the subduction path. These anomalies are found deep within the Earth's mantle, well below the phase of transition zone, though thought by some to be the barriers to mantle-wide subduction. So while that was happening, there was this expansion of the ocean floor and upwelling of mantle through the ocean floor. And then we come to the continental modification. So while that is happening, the continents are compressing and springing back and stretching continually, creating mountains and folding layers of silt and sand, creating some of the geological features that we see today. And the floodwaters were caused by geyser activity along the mid-oceanic ridge fissure. There was gases and minerals all mixed in with that water, and it just erupted up to the atmosphere and spread out across the world and rained down on the earth. And then the sediments, additional sediments from constant tsunami action, carried sediment inland and layered them like layer cakes. So the hydroplate theory purports or posits that there was a interconnected subterranean water underneath the Earth's crust, about 10 miles underneath, and pressure was building up in the mantle and stretching it like a balloon until it finally just ruptured all along the mid-oceanic ridge, and all that water under pressure jettisoned up into the atmosphere and rained back down as rain. The rupture eroded quickly, raining settlement on the earth. So where the rupture was and all that massive water was coming out, it was eroding the sides of that rupture and spewing sand and gravel and many other things way up into the atmosphere and raining them down on the earth, in addition to the rain. And the flood, after 40 days, the water still continued to come up out of the fissure, although not quite as fast a rate. So the floodwaters continued to rise up to the point that it covered all the hills and mountains. And then the rapid continental drift, the continents slid away from each other, still with some of the water, the viscosity underneath. They slid away from each other as the rift opened in the mid-Atlantic, and once they settled, then their continental plates started sliding back down towards that ridge and actually plugged it and stopped the water from rising. Again, at that point, we have recovery of the continents, where the mountains, are forming through the contraction and stretching and contraction of the continents, as those mountains were formed, causing the floodwaters to rain off and run back down into the ocean. And still today, you can see large valleys of where water had run back down into the ocean and filled all the rift and valleys that were created by this mega event. So in conclusion, when we look at the two different theories, catastrophic plate theory, and which supports the account of the fountains of the deep with the geysers, supports the 40 days of rain, again with the geysers, but it fails to support how the rain in the fountains were stopped or how it continued to rise after the rain stopped. So we look at the hydroplate theory. It supports accounts of the fountains of the deep, even to the point of them being broken up. It's very descriptive in the Bible how the fountains of the deep were broken up, and raining not only water onto the land, but silt and sediment and everything that came up from the sides of those ruptures. And then it also supports the 40 days of rain and the continuing of the raising of the water after the rain had ceased. And it supports how the rains and fountains were stopped and that was by the continental plate sliding back down into the fissures, closing it up or plugging it, so that everything stopped. And as the mountains were built upon the continents, the floodwaters started flowing off, and back down into the oceans. So my conclusion is that the hydroplate theory better supports biblical account of Noah's flood. So I want to thank you for listening. Again, my name is Lisa Phillips. You can contact me at my email address if you have any questions. I want to thank you for attending, and you have a wonderful day.